So for activity 4 and 5, I checked what you have submitted, and then there were some mistakes, and but most of them are small, like for example, for remove add. So remember productivity for what you had to do. You had to implement the method remove and remove add. So remove and remove add. So the difference is that remove, you provide the object you want to remove. So it means that if I have the object, one exact object, and if this object exists in the collection, then it needs to be removed. So, and basically, if we talk about the arrays, so it means that when we remove, we do the shifting. So we shift the elements. Shift the elements left. So it means that the current one would be then the next one. So shift the elements. This means that we remove them. And there was one thing that I guess there was erroneous group was missed, is that the count was not decremented. So remember that the count should be decremented. That's first, and secondly, you need to also finish the method, because otherwise, if you don't finish the method, it will continue the loop, and this may trigger some incorrect results. However, I think it won't trigger in this case if you don't use return, since there will be only one object. But it's better to finish it, and so basically then the method will be the execution of the method will be over then. So please don't forget to use how to use ifs, else ifs, because there were some cases where you mixed them out a bit. For example, under else, so sometimes you kept the exception at the end of the method when it was not needed, and then you did the shipping. So basically, I guess there was something like this. So like the execution is finished, and then the exception is thrown again. So this is not correct. Please don't forget about the sequence you have here. And then should be correct. So under ifs there should be. One more thing I did not really understand why. I guess there was some here in this group that you defined some index somewhere here. And then you checked not the index what needs to be removed, but the index you defined locally here. So that's for sure not correct, because this is just the local index you defined, and then you used it. Not really sure why did you define it there. But of course you have the index provided to the method, so this is the index you need to use. You don't need to define it somewhere randomly inside the code. So it's not what is needed. So if the index is provided, you need to work with this particular index. What is provided to the method. So that was one small mistake. And for remove, I guess that was fine. Remove at index, the implementation. Maybe that's so. But from the logical point of view, remove at the index means that there's the position from where you need to remove, and then by the way, here, basically the same as here. When you remove, basically here we also remove at the position, but we don't know this position. Basically, in theory, what we can do here as well. So this is what I told you on Thursday, is For example, here you see that I basically what I do when we find the index where we need to remove it, we can then simply like remove is the special case of remove and. So in this case, I simply can call remove ads, and here I can provide the index. So in this case, I don't need to write the same method twice. This would also be correct, yeah, because again, basically remove means that I want to shift the element starting some point, and this point is I calculate, I find this point. So this point is the place where the argument is stored. I mean the argument I'm searching for is stored. Then I find it, I get the index, then I remove, uh, then I do the shifting and the corresponding then index then. Yeah, so this is how we can proceed. And then the idea would be the same as here. So for insertion, yeah, we have two arguments. The first one is the argument we want to insert. The second one is the index where we need to place. So it basically means that we should insert this particular argument. Yeah, so basically that may be maybe not really easy. So again, we do some random, we do some basic checks at the beginning if the capacity is correct, if the count is correct, and if the index is correct, yeah. And then if everything is correct, we inserted them. And basically what does it mean? It means that if we have the array, let's say something like this, then we want to insert at position 2, so it means that we need to insert position, like we count, if we start counting from 1 at position 3, that would be so. And then insert, let's say 5 at 2. It means that it should then look this way. 1, 2, 5, and 3. So what does it mean? It means that I need to shift all these elements right. Yeah. So how can I do it? In theory, I can go backwards. This is one option. Yeah. So it means that I start at the last position, and then I simply put. So it means that the current element equals the previous one. So basically shift them, and yeah, and another option would be that I take the current yeah, but I still need to go backwards. Yeah, yeah, I think if you want to go forward, I think yeah, forward it won't really be possible. Yeah, because the other way, if you go forward, you basically override. Yeah, if I want to shift the elements from here, I cannot simply say that please make next one 2, because then it will just basically make all the elements 2. Yeah, so you cannot go forward. The only way here is, at least what I see, is then when we go backwards. Yeah, so it means we start at 3, then we say the next element would be 3, okay, then the next element is 3. I go to element 5, then I say the next element should be 5, next element is 5, I go back, say next element should be 2, yes, and then I move it forward. Yeah. And then at the position which is now 3, I add the corresponding element and I increment the count. Yeah, so this may be a little bit tricky, I agree, but this is just the algorithm how we can shift the elements. In this particular case, we need to go backwards. So, do you have questions about this? Okay. So it's fine. Then add simply means that we add it at the end. So this is I would say quite simple. Yeah, and then we increment count. And here we have postfix increment. Yeah, remember the difference between prefix increment and postfix increment, because if I do prefix increment, then it means that it first we then increments count, and then it applies the operation. In this case, it applies the operation first. Yeah, so it adds the it assigns the argument to the corresponding position into the array, and then it increments count after that. Yeah, and then it returns the position count. Yeah, so simple. Yeah, one more comment for Irena's team is that like I guess you submitted some commented code as well, yeah, which is not used but it's commented. So on practice, when we submit, I mean for you, okay, it's fine. We are training, but I mean on practice when you submit the code, when you actually provide the final version of the code, it should not have any, I mean not any comments, but the commented code. Yeah, basically the commented code means it is not used on practice. I mean on the training it can be used, but I mean when you submit the final solution should not have the commented code, because it is simply basically it's not executable code, it's not needed, and on a final solution, for some production solution, we do not submit it. I mean, for training, that's fine, but I mean, when you do it on practice, like you work on the real application and you submit the code, then you should not submit the commented code. Yeah? I guess you understand why, because it's simply not needed. Like if it's commented, then it's not needed. So then,
Okay, thank you.
yeah, I mean that's just for your information that on the when you work on the real products, then of course.
I think we just forgot to delete it, so
No,
it
no, that's fine.
wasn't
I mean it's
intentional.
good. So I mean it's good, so others can know this as well. Yeah, so just yeah, just for practice. For practice, in the real life, commented code is not needed. Yeah. But don't worry, usually, I mean, on the normal, not normal, but on the usual solutions, on usual projects, there are always some kind of code reviewers who review your code before it is moved to the real application, and then they will notice this, yeah, they will notice this, and they will maybe ask you to do it, or they will delete the code by themselves. It depends, but yeah, your code should normally be reviewed before it is um, moved to application. And the usual approach is not usual, but the common approach is that let's say there are several developers, yeah, then one developer writes the code, then another developer checks the code, and vice versa. And so such project patterns are working patterns are applied in practice. Yeah, so that's what I just said. Insert, remove. Yeah, this is what I said. And basically, that was it. Yeah, so we run the test. We check if everything is correct. Yeah, you see that there are two skipped, but I guess there should be skipped two. Yeah, I think. Yeah, they are skipped. Not too sure why, but well, maybe let's check. They're skipped. Before. Ignore, yeah. So if unit test method is marked as ignored, then they should be skipped. Hmm. So yeah. Do you have any questions about activity 4? Okay. So if not, we can move to activity 5, and that was, I would say, a little bit more tricky. So then actually you had to develop your own, well, not develop, but find your own way to store the data. Yeah, and as an option, it was that you you can create your not create, but you can use the array store that was used in the previous task, and yeah. So there were also some comments. So for Vienna, there was one interesting thing that so Vienna created. What was this? I guess that was here. No, it's here. I guess in simple part. So basically, it was there was, I guess, this logic, something like this. So we defined the attribute here, and then created it as a simple card. I guess it was something like this. And yeah, basically, what does it mean? It means that yeah. So basically, let's try to run unit test, and I guess now it should go into the endless loop. Yeah, so you see that now it is moving, it is running, 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 and it will continue running because it's now in the endless loop. And this is because basically what we say that when we create the object on the simple card, yeah, we need to, so inside this, we always create the simple card inside simple card. So it means that every time you create simple card, there's a new simple card created under the simple card. So basically, yeah, we create simple card creates another simple card, then it creates another simple card, it creates another simple card, another simple card, another simple card, and so on, and so on, and so on. And then at the end, it basically finishes into the in the endless loop. Yeah. So that's why please be careful. That was it's fine, but just yeah, that was such case when it ended in the endless loop. Yeah, so that's why be careful when you create when you instantiate the attribute of the same class where you are currently in, and this is instance attribute. Then this may be trouble. But if you define it as static, then I think it should not trigger the endless loop. Let's check. Yeah, then it should not trigger the endless loop because static means that it is triggered when this class is created. Then it means that it will be specific, or I guess not created, but sorry, not created, but I guess when this class is used for the first time, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, so it means it will only be created once, yeah, because again, static, we can consider static as the part of the attribute, which is a part of the class itself as one instance, yeah. That's why, but the class itself is created only once, when the program is executed, and then yeah, it will not trigger the creation of another simple class, yeah. So please be careful here in this case. So then for the card attributes, yeah, I need to get the card index. You can set the card index. Yeah, for get card attributes, it was mentioned, yeah, you can get the card attribute, which is the number, but it was also required that the card should also has this prefix card, which was also defined in the unit test here. Let me remove all the breakpoints. Yeah, so it was mentioned in the unit test, so it means that then we should have this prefix. Yeah, and for the other stuff, there was, yeah, also for unit, there was one small comment based on the length. Yeah, so if you had the problem with the length, simple, no, not card hand. One moment, there was card, yeah, this one, and there was the problem with the card count. Yeah, I guess you used the length, or maybe at some point you used the, yeah, I guess you used the length, or something else, but you had to use count, or no, that was max size. One moment. What is the issue? Moment. Let me check your code again. I remember you had this one mixing. Yeah, you mixed one place. One moment. Let me quickly check. Where was this? Where was this? Card player. Ah, yeah. So first of all, you had this in the constructor. Yeah, we had to define where we had to define maximal card number. Yeah, in your case, it was not needed. We had to then create the card hand as the object, yeah, as the array store, and then provide the maximal card numbers. Yeah, so basically, maximal card number means the length of the array, and then there is the method max size. Then you simply need to get the length of this array. Yeah, and then this would be correct. Yeah, so you didn't need to create a new attribute, but again, you could also do it. So like do it this way, max size, and then initialize it maybe from here, and then from get max size, you then have to get this max size, but that would be just an additional step. Yeah, because normally, then I guess that would be the most simple solution, that you simply create a card hand, and then provides the maximum number of cards to be stored under this. Yeah. So then for card count, you can get the count under this array store. Yeah. So then yeah, the ones you can get from there, and you can add card using the same method we had there. And yeah, so then you had to return true. I guess yeah, we also had. Yes, you forgot to return true here. Yeah, if the card is added, then you need to return true. For one moment, or maybe yeah, I have to return through here. Remove cards, basically I can use the same remove at and also remove return true at the end. So that was also needed here, but then yeah, the base is based on the array store. Instead of the array store, you could use the collections. We'll talk about the collections more on Monday, but you could use the collections as well. You could implement your own linked list, for example, or something similar. So that was up to you to decide, yeah, what you had to do. For the simple card, yeah, so we had to implement the constructor, providing the card index, and then the rest is up to you. You could store the card index, yeah, privately in the attribute. You could create this as getter and setter separately. For get car attributes, yeah, basically you could do it this way, or as another option, you could also basically have to add this prefix. As another option, you could do it this way, and then simply put it to string. Oh no, sorry, yeah, you couldn't, since here you store it as the integer, yeah, that's why we cannot get this as a string. Yeah, it should be integer. Yeah, that's why we can implement this getCard attribute with this prefix needed here. And so that will be it, I guess. So, but yeah, this is mostly as up to you task when you have to use your own solutions, to find your own solution, what is better for you. So it's more improvising here. Yeah, more area for improvisation for you. Okay, do you have any questions? about activity 5? No. Do you have any questions about any other questions?
Hi, I actually have a question about how to create the array, like from the array store class, where I had that mistake. I wasn't really sure how to do it.
How to create the array store. So
The instance of array store. I
I
think it was on the card player class.
yeah, the card player class. Uh,
Yeah, this public card player
so you
over
simply
there.
this way. So simply have to
Yeah.
provide the maximum number of the elements. This is what you have to do here.
And why under there, the next line is array store I card hand. Why is it that needed?
I mean, yes, because uh, this is where you store the card hand. Yeah? So under the card player, as the attribute, you have the card hand, right? So this is what is stored under the card player, because otherwise you have no place to store it. You need to store it somewhere under the card player, because the card player itself it has the card hand. Yeah, so this is the place where it's stored. Yeah, I mean, maybe you could try to initialize it directly this way, but the problem is that if you initialize the objects here, then they are triggered exactly alongside with the constructor, and they don't have the access to this maximum number, which is incorrect, because we should create, wait, sorry, we should create the array store with the maximum number, and we can only get this maximum number from the constructor. Yeah. Otherwise it won't be accessible here. Yeah, so we store it, and then, for example, to get the card count, we get it from the card hands. Yeah, and also the maximal size, we get it from the card hands. And we add the cards to the card hands. So basically we deal with the card hand here. Yeah, but we initialize it, we create the instance of this card hand in the constructor. Yeah. So we provide maximum number. Is it more clear, or?
Yeah, I just wasn't sure where exactly to create
No,
that
it's fine. Yeah.
instance.
So actually, if you have any parameters needed for the attributes to be initialized, then you need to pass them to the constructor. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so if there are no questions about anything, yeah, remember we have yeah, maybe I will highlight it. Notes check. Maybe I will write it once again. We have notes check on Monday. Yeah, don't forget about it. So we will start yeah, do I have all the presentations uploaded? Yeah. Oh no, hold on. I will maybe add more presentations there, and then yeah, we will, like, the idea would be the same as the last time. We'll have the session for, like, again, 1 hour or 1 hour and a half, and after that you can then start doing the knowledge check. So, and yeah, let me also then upload all the presentations we had so far, and then you can check them. Okay, so are there any more questions?
Hello, I have a general question.
Yeah.
Visual Studio, newest edition, there is something worse to have, or it's in our level
To
it
be
was
honest,
not
I have
as
not
worse?
tried. Yeah, to be honest, I have not tried it yet. I don't like updating my applications, because I usually I need to have my computer turned on, and it's usually when something is updated, then it requires the computer to be restarted, and I'm usually, I may say, not lazy, but I don't want my computer to be turned off. when the update is done. So I haven't tried it yet, but you can try, I think, if you want, if you have time, if you want. But I mean, for our sessions, for our course, it would definitely be enough to have
It's enough, yeah.
the current one. Yeah, I haven't tried the newest one yet, but if you want, you can try. Why not?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Any more questions? Hard Saturday. But yeah, so good. Then if that's it, if that's it, then that's it. So then thank you much for attention today. Have a nice rest of the weekend. Have a nice Sunday, and then meet you all on Monday. Thank you, and have a nice weekend all. Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye till Monday.
Thank you. Bye bye.